she'll say at the top a lot. Good day, everyone, whatever time zone you're in. I would like to welcome you to the Tros 2023 Álfablót. I'm hoping that if you are someone who doesn't have a community, that you will join ours today as we honor the gods and we honor the Alfar. A little bit about what this bloat is, and to let you guys know, Álfablót is a ritual that we do at the beginning of the Holy Tide of Winter Nights. Now, if you want the in-depth Winter Nights, go check out the replay of our live video from last night, where we talked about Winter Nights and we talked about why we celebrate it, the various different celebrations that are all essentially Winter Nights, and had a really great time. Also talked about why there's a rise of knitting poles in Iceland right now. So go check that out. I think you'll really enjoy that, our edition of All Thing Considered last night. But for this particular ritual, because this is a community ritual, we are going to be honoring the god Frey, who is known in the mythology as the Lord of the Alfar. We're also going to be honoring the elves and the protective spirits of our community, because let's face it, it's been a year for most of us. And I think that honoring those protective spirits is very important, especially this time of year as we enter into kind of the dark time of the year. If you are leaving comments, I can't see them. I do have my handy dandy assistant, best friend, and kindred sister helping me today. So, as well as some of our community moderators helping today, and they'll be able to answer your questions in chat. But I actually can't see. All I can see is her pretty face in the back of my computer right now. So please keep that in mind. If you do hear noises, I have dogs, and they've decided this is when it's time to come eat lunch. So I do apologize, but dogs, right? You can't. They are what they are. It's a corgi, so that should give you enough, hopefully, internet points that you'll forgive them. So I'm going to go over very briefly what we're going to do, and if you would like to join with me at home, things you might want to go gather really quickly. So we are going to start out this ritual by lighting a need fire. I don't do it the old-fashioned way. I do it the electronic way. We are then going to be calling upon the wights and the ancestors. We'll do an invocation to the Alfar, then an invocation to Frey. We're going to talk about setting our intention. Why are we here and doing this? We will then offer a sacrifice to the gods. And then we will do a sacrifice to the protective spirits. And they will close this out. And then it is currently storming outside. So once the storming stops, I will then take this later today and put the offerings out at the tree where I leave my offerings outside in my backyard. And that is why I'm inside today, is like I said, it is storming here. So, which is good. We need it. And it's going to actually, this is a kind of a good time because it's beginning of the winter season, and it's actually going to drop down to winter temperatures next week, which never happens this time of year here. So if you would like to participate in, keep in mind, I do my kindred and my tradition, and as someone part of Heathens in Recovery, I do dry ritual. So if you would like to get a cup or a horn or whatever vessel you would like of some sort of sweet beverage, it can be alcohol, it can be soda, it can be apple juice, apple cider, which is what I'm using. In addition, an apple or a piece of fruit. I prefer using an apple just because I do know. And then I'm offering cornmeal that was stone ground here where I live, as our offering to the land spirits. I want to explain to you a little bit of why I do this, and a little bit of acknowledgement of whose land I'm on. This is the land of many people. I live on, like, literally my house is on where the Trail of Tears passed. And so I honor that, but specifically, I honor the lands of the people that we inhabit, the Caddo, especially. I have a strong tie to that tribe, but there's also been others, including the Quapaw and the Cherokee. Many others have come through this area in great times of sorrow. So I acknowledge, one, that I live on this land that is full of sorrow for these people. And two, I also acknowledge that by offering to land spirits, because I believe that land spirits and they all are tied into people who have died on this land and lived on this land. In conjunction with people who are part of these tribes, I offer cornmeal. My traditional Alfar or land spirit offerings are always cornmeal, tobacco, never alcohol, water, milk, honey, but never alcohol. And that is because of the fraught relationship between white people and alcohol and indigenous people. That being said, if you'd like, take a minute, go grab yourself a drink and go grab yourself an offering. You're more than welcome to join me with this. I am sitting down today because I want to make sure you get good audio. And also because I may have slipped and fallen on my butt earlier because rain. So just keep that in mind. And I do thank everyone for being here and joining us. I think this is going to be a great time for everyone. And this is a very important time. And I hope that you are able to take this holy tide to reflect and to give thanks and to really think about your legacy in this world, to your family, to your community, and everything else. By the holy gods of our folk, we kindle the fires of creation. Let fire be quickened by flame, and may the sacred flame of our folk, which forever burns, radiate in Midgard. Hail to our ancestors. Hail to the spirits of the land. Welcome, spirits of hearth, field, and farm, of spring, river, and rock, of tall building and humble cottages. Join us as we gather to honor our old ones. Great fathers of old, we call you from your bright home, from the ancient mounds, and from the depths of Svarthelm. Be you the craftsmen of the gods, our ancient ancestors of stone, wood, and earth, or the fair ones of above, come and take your seats as we honor you on this day. Hail to Frey, foremost of the gods, hated by none, son of Njord, brother of Freya, husband of Gerd, father of many tribes and royal lines. You who dwell in Alfheim, home of the elves, you who rule the prosperity of man, a fertility of the land. Bountiful harvest, wealth, and peace. Riding your gold-bristled boar. Please come now swiftly to us. We honor you with our gifts. We bring you the deeds of our harvests. We bring you frith and merriment, knowing you are God of the world and giver of good things. We rejoice with you in our gladness. The harvest is done, and now we enter a time of dark nights. This is the beginning of winter nights, and we will reflect on what is past and prepare on what is to come. Today, we will honor the Alfar in two concepts: the elves connected to our land and the ancestors who connect our community and protect them. There is a very familiar verse in the Havamal. Cattle die, friends die, and one day you will die. But there is one thing that never dies: the memory of a man or woman or our indie friends. There's no avoiding it. At some point, we will all be separated from those we love. We will miss them, and they will miss us. We will watch people grow sick and die. And one day we too will grow sick and older. We all know that money and wealth is transitory. And no matter how hard we work or how much we carefully save and plan, eventually you can't take it with you. It's not going to do you any good. I mean, you can buy the most expensive medical treatment. Maybe you want to pitch in for that cryogenic freezing, or you want to be that weird guy who's getting blood transplants from his kid. But eventually everyone will die. We can buy things, of course, that make our life more enjoyable, but we cannot buy more life. However, we can always count on the memory of ourselves outliving us. It's a blessing or a curse, depending on how you live your life. And it is going to be remembered by the words and deeds. And it's not about big deeds. It's not about going out there and changing the world. We're not all going to be, we're not all going to be someone who changes the world in a way that is recorded in history books. Not all of us are going to be George Washington or Charlemagne or Genghis Khan or whoever. Most of us are simply going to be remembered by those of us who loved us. So how we choose to live our lives and affect our communities and the people around us who really matter are going to be how those memories continued on. And so I hope you reflect during this holy tide on what kind of legacy and what kind of memories you want your loved ones to have of you. Winter nights is that time that's going to ground us in this truth, and live your life in a way so that your memories will always be a comfort and a blessing. And now we will offer first a sacrifice to the gods, then we will have a sacrifice to the protective spirits. The days are growing shorter, and the gathering light lessens the lull of all life. However, our hearts can feel full of frith by those who surround us and protect and love us. We have been granted great gifts from great gods, apples that sweeten our soul, that can be turned into so many things: pies, ciders, both alcoholic and not. All of these things build the connection, not just between man, but man and our gods and man and our land. This cider is a sweet favor of fall's frith. It is happy, and it is something that many of us, as we gather with other heathens in symbol, toast over to share those memories. And as these are important, we share these with the gods, for it is their blessing for this past year that has given us this bounty and this harvest. For Frey, who dwells in Alfheim. Frey, the god who gives us bounty of the earth, but also gives us peace and plenty. Frey, who is a protector in his own way. And while he may be seen sometimes as a god of war, with war also comes peace. And in this very fraught time in our world, I can only pray that Frey will bring peace, because it is desperately needed all over the world right now. The world will soon harden, and Frey's desire, the fertility of the land will disappear. The leaves will fall. The ground will turn brown and gray. But this is all part of the great cycle of Frey's fertility and the gifts of the land. For the decaying matter will return to the earth and enrichen it. So in the spring, the flowers will bloom and bring fruit once again. Great thanks to you, O Frey, not only for the sweet taste of fall's harvest, but also the death of the plants, so that they may come back and enrich the soil and give life again. We are full of gratitude. And just like this cider, this sweet flavor fills our heart as we honor you. Hail Frey. Hail to the light elves, the dark elves, all other elves and land spirits. We are sacrificing to you for your might, main, creativity, and luck. Your powers and skills have influence, are seen daily. We honor all you do for our land, protecting our communities, our families, and our friends. We ask you to honor our gifts as we sacrifice to you more of this sweet cider. We also sacrifice to you this locally stone ground cornmeal, harvested from the lands in Arkansas near where I grew up. Ground not 30 miles from where we are now on an old-fashioned grist mill. And now we return it to you, a part of this to you, as a sign of our thanks, as a sign of our love, and a sign of our hope of your continued protection, luck, and might. Hail the Alfar! With great blessings, we have come into this place. And while for many of us this has been a hard year, we offer thanks and praise to the gods. We also offer thanks and praise to the ancestors and the Alfar, those who protect our communities, that make us stronger when we face these difficult challenges. The Alfar remind us that we are never alone. Even in times when I have felt like the only heathen in the world, I am never alone, for the Alfar and the gods are always with me. I'm humbled to stand before you today as a part of this community of heathens spread all across the world, connected by the internet, connected by our bonds of love for the gods. And I am bringing kindness and love and embodying the sweet memories of those in our communities who have gone before, those protective ancestors. We honor you today, we honor you tomorrow, and we give you as an example on how we can be an honored ancestor when our time comes. Thank you to the spirits of the land who have joined us today, to the spirits of the home and buildings and all things. We bid you peace and plenty, and we are gracious that you came and gave us your presence. To the Alfar, those who are here, those who protect our community, we are grateful. We thank you for coming today. And as you go back to perform your duties, may you be blessed with peace and plenty. And to the gods, to Frey, we are humbled by your presence. We thank you for being here today. We thank you for this time. And most importantly, we thank you for all of the blessings and bounty you have given us this year. May you continue to provide peace and plenty. And to all, stay if you will, go if you must. This ritual is wrought, and thank you for joining us. I can take a few questions. We'll have to have them read to me though, because I can't see the screen. But that is our ritual. Thank you guys so much. You see, I do things like I have a book. Like I'm not someone who can go off script very easily. So if we have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, there's a little delay. So if you are, so we will have hopefully, this is just the first of kind of us streaming these bloats. So in 2 weeks we will have Disablot. We will also be having a series of shorts for Candlemas. So I'm actually very excited about that. I think that's gonna be really cool. What you have to hit the button on, yeah, here we go. We will have a series of shorts for Candlemas. And I'm really excited about that because I think that will be a lot of fun. All right, what do I got? How might one go about crafting a script for a solo ritual? Okay, so crafting a script for a solo ritual. For me, ritual has 5 parts, right? And I actually wrote this as kind of a solo ritual because I'm essentially doing this by myself. For me, the ritual has the invitation, where you invite whatever beings you're involving. Well, no, let me back up once. You have the sanctification, which you do beforehand, which is basically making your space sacred. I did that before we went on air. And you can do that simply by cleansing with fire, water. You know, we came in here this morning and mopped and cleaned in here before we had ritual as well. Second, you're going to have your introduction or invitation. And that's what I did in the very beginning, where I just, invited the gods in. There's a really old website called Odin's Gift, and it's got a ton of really great prayers and invocations and stuff on it. Just if you need a little cheat sheet there. Then you're going to set the intention. And that's kind of where you just say or even read. You can even, if you're by yourself, you can literally just sit down and read a particular part of the sagas or the Eddas that relates to what you're doing, right? Or a folk tale. When a lot of times at Sigrblót, we will read the story about Scotty coming for payment for her father dying. One, because it's kind of appropriate to the season, and also two, because the kids love it, because Loki, a goat, and balls. What else do you need? And then you will do your offering, and then just simply a very simple close, and it can just simply be taking your offering, pouring it out, and thanking the beings who have come for attending. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. If you're by yourself, you can do it. I have a very brief morning ritual I do to the Disir, and it's literally I come, I sit down, I say, Disir, thank you for joining me today. Please bless me for my day. I will read some sort of devotional type thing. I will give an offering of coffee and soft peppermints. And if you know my great grandmother, you would understand that. And then I would thank her for coming and being with me that day, and ask her to continue to ask my Disir to stay with me that day. That's it. And that's a whole ritual right there. Sorry.
Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it appropriate to eat the offerings after a ritual?
Okay, so this is my opinion and not others' opinions. Yes, but no. I think it's up to you. Some people do think it is appropriate, and some people don't. My particular upbringing and experience, I don't, but other people have no problems in eating it or putting it in the trash or whatever. Like, it's once the ritual is done and closed and you have closed out the ritual, essentially the offerings are no longer considered, I guess, sanctified. And so it's fine. For me, because I tend to just give all of food offerings to the land wights unless it's something that's dangerous, I just put it outside. But you can, especially if you're doing like a ritual involving like an ancestral supper, it's probably a good idea. And another really great part, the other things you can do, offerings don't have to be food. One of my favorite offerings is to write a poem and then to burn it, essentially, or making wooden offerings and burning them. My kindred likes to burn things. That's what I'm discovering from this conversation.
Next question. How do you know if they've heard you?
You don't, I guess. You don't actually know. I know that some people in their rituals asking for a sign. I've done that. I've not done that. But it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. Because what matters is you're doing it. You're engaging in this gifting cycle. You're giving these gifts. Because they give these gifts freely without any expectation of us returning and giving these gifts. So what we're doing is enhancing this relationship. But I think part of it's also faith. I believe that they are, even though I don't necessarily know, I believe. And I think a lot of times you just have to take it on faith that they know, they acknowledge, they understand. I mean, if we knew for certain it wouldn't be a religion, it would be science. And I think that's an important thing. You just kind of have to take it on faith sometimes. And you know what? The first time you do a ritual, you're going to feel really silly. The 50th time you do a ritual, sometimes you're going to feel really silly. And that's okay.
I think that's all the questions.
All right. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming to this ritual today. Do apologize. We started a little late. If you would like to, please like this video on whatever platform you're on, share it with anyone else who might need a ritual this time of year who doesn't have someone that they can join. And with that, there's an Álfablót outro, and then we'll go off live. We will play the outro and we'll go off live. And if you please go to our website, thetroth.org, if you've got any questions, and feel free to reach out.